in round 1 with our blue-green energy tech. We will happily play first. Ugh. Well, not awesome, but we're not really overwhelmed with 2-drops where we definitely want to get that. We've got a couple of our colors and we've got some reasonable plays here. And I'm going to keep it. Our opponent is not, and I will say I'm okay with being up a card. Knowing we've got a 7-drop in our deck, keeping 5 lands is, you know, still not awesome, but it's not the worst. All right. Here we go. Let's see what our opponent is working with. Planes, you say? All right. Hey! Just the guy we wanted to see. Prophetic Prism. So if our opening hand had been Prophetic Prism, Gear Per Guide, Pima Outrider, that is a snap keep. Do that for sure. Oh, that's fantastic. We look like we need another blue, but we actually don't. We just need 1 more mana with the artifacts that we have here, and we could even play Pima Outrider as a 3/3, get our extra artifact, and then play Gear Secret Serpent on turn 5. So I'm okay with that. Oh, and look at that. Look at that. Also right on time. Let's get the Imperial Voyager out here. Might get some free energy here. Might just eat a removal spell. Not sure, but I'm okay with that. If our opponent does nothing, do we attack? So immediately I'm seeing double white here. If he has no turn 3 play, that's a little suspicious. And that would make me... Oh, okay. Our opponent's missing land drops. So if he had... if he had no turn 3 play and he made his land drop, then I think we don't attack, because chances are he's trying to get us with impeccable timing. But I do not know how impeccable our opponent's timing will be in this case. So, given that they've missed a land drop, we're on 4 and he's on 2. Let's just get that impeccable timing out of his hand if he's got it. And he does. Yep. That's fine. He can deal with that. We now have the requisite 6 mana to be able to cast Gear Secret Serpent, so I'm going to play Pima Outrider as a 4/4, which makes it immune to impeccable timing. Put a counter on it, because we like it. And if you like it, you should put a counter on it. That's what Beyonce would do. Alright, black-white. Black-white. I didn't notice if our opponent here was in our draft pod, but there's a possibility they have that Gonti in. Oh, man. That'd be bad. Alright. Well, hey, this is fantastic. We get to use the better part of our mana, which is fantastic. Let's ride over our opponent here. And I really have no reason not to play out my hand here. If our opponent has Fabricate or has Fumigate, they're going to get us. And, you know, what can you do? Now, if he chooses to attack here, I will definitely trade. I'm down for that, especially on an opponent who is low on mana. Workshop Assistant. All right. All right. Ah, the judge. So normally we would play Gear Seeker Serpent here, but since we've got a thing with a +1/+1 counter, and we like drawing cards, I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Give us that little bit of extra information before we even attack. Oh, Nature's Way. You are so good. We are not going to use it yet, though. I think we are just going to go ahead and crash in here. I'm not going to use the energy just to get an extra point of damage in there. But I am okay if he decides to trade here for gear per guide. Now what our opponent can do is block Workshop Assistant here, block Foundry Inspector here, and then get their Foundry Inspector back. Or the other way around. Oh, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I don't think this is going to work out as well as they think it is. I think we can say, let's assign all the damage there. So that way they don't get their Foundry Inspector back, which still leaves them a little choked on mana. And we can now use Gear Pro Guide to get something through if we want. Feel bad for my opponent for not drawing lands, but not bad enough that I'm going to do something about it. Yeah, our opponent is ugh in chat. Well, so we've got a couple different things we can do. I really want to take advantage of the fact that our opponent has no plays. Because I could just start sneaking things through and not even show them Gear Seeker Serpent, and I think that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to go ahead and make it so this can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. I'm going to say he can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. And we're just going to deny him getting that Foundry Inspector back. Hit him for 6. And if our opponent does play something really good, we can always use Nature's Way to kill it. Alright. Like whatever this ends up being, yeah, Propeller Pioneer, that's fine. And now we can even we can do it all here. So we can say, let's Nature's Way. Armorcraft Judge is going to just reach up and punch that Propeller Pioneer. And then make him and him unblockable. And our opponent has had enough. All right. Cool. So we can win against an opponent who doesn't draw anything, but how are we going to do otherwise? So one of the things that I will often do, and didn't do this time, is kind of pull out, what are our big sideboard cards? What cards are we going to look to out of our sideboard that are going to match up well against different strategies or something along those lines. And, you know, some of these cards here, even Wingsmith, even Turtle, we would play things like another Thriving Turtle if our opponent's deck was really aggressive and we just needed to lower our curve a little bit. Take out something like Shrewd Negotiation. That's definitely more of a long game card. If our opponent showed us a lot of artifact removal, we might want to shave like artifacts we don't need, like the P-Foul, for something like a Weldfast Wingsmith, which is fine. If we needed more card draw, if our opponent's got like a really good late game and we just need to outcard him, we would do that. Or if we needed to deal with artifacts in some way, we've got an extra appetite. The Train comes in here if we just feel like we need ways to close out the game, and I really don't think that's going to happen with this deck. I think we've got some great top end here that is just going to allow that to happen. And as we saw in the last game, we didn't even need to play our Gear Seeker Serpent, and I love it when we don't have to show our opponent our late game. Because maybe they won't see it coming. All right. We've got Turtle into Arrow of Innovation, and Wild Wanderer is going to get us a land, and yeah, this seems fine. We'll keep it. Oh, unfortunately for our opponent, they are mulliganing again. While I will take the wins when they're handed to me, I always feel bad. Feel really bad. Wish I could give them a 7th card. I really would. Okay. All right. Skyskiff is definitely a real thing. Let's go ahead and run this out here. I'm giving up 1, 2, maybe even 3 damage by not attacking with Turtle here, but I think I'm okay with that. We've got better things to do with lots of energy, and one of them is going to be sitting on the board here. We'll be able to play P-Foul on 5, we'll play a Wild Wanderer on 4, and we'll play this on 5 and pay 1 for Arrow of Innovation and pick up a couple of energy. All right. Yeah, our opponent's going to get in there with the Skyskiff. Makes sense, especially if we're not attacking. Now, Judge kind of changes our perspective a little bit. We don't have any other huge payoff cards, and getting a counter on this Turtle means that we could play Judge next turn and be able to draw a card off of it. That seems worth it to me. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. The only risk that we run here is that our opponent may be able to attack with both Skyskiff and Companion next turn, but if they do, then we can't really block Companion with an 0-3 anyway, at least not profitably. So if our opponent plays a creature here, which we have to assume that they're going to, They can hit us for 5, and that's not great. But Turtle's going to be able to block Companion going forward, and we can actually even play out Wild Wanderer. Oh, no creature. Interesting. Alrighty then. Alright, our opponent just does nothing, which is weird. Maybe their hand is double black and double red spells. We don't know. But I think I'm going to go ahead and play out Wild Wanderer here. The reason for that is this is an Artificer, which means we'll be able to trigger this. This is an Artifact, which will trigger this. So we want to have 5 lands on the battlefield to do that. This is merely an Elf Druid. It will trade nicely for our Thriving Turtle, but otherwise, not so much. I'm going to go ahead and attack with the Turtle, because there doesn't seem to be a huge reason not to. Our opponent is almost certainly not going to waste their removal spell on a 1/4 Turtle. Mountain, you are in. And I, of course, would happily trade Wild Wanderer here for a Trusty Companion if our opponent has a creature to crew the skiff. And it looks like maybe they do. Sure. Robot Lizard getting in the... I don't even know what this is. Plane helicopter thing? Auto gyro? Hang glider? I'm not... I guess there's a propeller right here. Not really following exactly what's going on here. It's pretty. We know that. It is pretty. Our opponent deep in the tank. Normally, it's me who's running into time trouble, but with talking while trying to stream or record, but does not seem to be the case here. And I will happily trade this off. Long Tusk Cub is going to be very, very happy with all of the energy that we are going to be able to provide for him. Peafowl. And tapping green, of course, because we want to be able to give this flying so we can block Skyskiff as needed. Sure. Turtle. Yeah. Yeah. Get turtled. I'm putting off playing the Armorcraft Judge here again. I think next turn I'm going to play a Long Tusk Cub, because what that'll allow me to do is put a counter on that and then draw an additional card. And if you haven't figured it out already, I love me drawing some cards. I love drawing me some cards. I love drawing cards. Opponent can give this menace and get in here for 3. And I don't know if they've thought of that. Hey, looks like they have. Or maybe they heard me. Sneaky opponents. Alright. Well, we're going to leave Turtle up to block. That was actually a mistake. Should have done that. Ah, well. Ooh. Alright. Appetite for the Unnatural. So, yet another great reason for us to play out Long Tusk Cub here and leave up Appetite. I am not sure what we're hungry for, but we're definitely hungry. So, are we going to get in here with anything? No, I think we're good. We want to block with these two things next turn. So, we're fine. Let's see what our opponent plays out. If they end up tapping down, Workshop Assistant or something like that to play Skyskiff, then killing the Skyskiff would maybe let us get in for an attack or something along those lines. Yep. All right. All right, opponent. The five-headed doctor, apparently. What do we got? All these cards do make interesting targets. The Skyskiff we can kind of take care of with our Peafowl, but being able to take out the Monitor means that we don't need to leave two creatures up to block. Even taking out Workshop Assistant has its advantages because right now there's nothing to get back. So that's all we're doing. Well, in that case, let's give this flying. Yep. It flies now. So my temptation here is going to be that we'll take out the Monitor here if nothing else happens. Would love to be able to get hit in with the Cub, get our energy, play our Armorcraft Judge, draw two cards. Our opponent has a combat trick. We do get to blow them out by playing Appetite on the Skyskiff, and it looks like maybe that is what is happening. And I'm okay with that too. Nom 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 nom. There's nothing more delicious than the unnatural. All right. Well, let's draw a couple cards, shall we? Oh, opponent. Come on, man. All right, there we go. So here comes the judge. Uh, oh, oh, that looks delightful. Okay, and we will yield to that. And we'll get some energy here. I think this attack makes good sense here. So our opponent does choose to block. We'll just put a counter on here. If not, happy to save up some energy for drawing 3 cards with Era of Innovation, or just doing the Aetherworks Marvel thing. Yep, our opponent's going to let us have 3 damage and some energy. And that's not a bad thing at all. And we're good. Ah, something big. What do we got? Wispweaver Angel. Okay. Well, this is where Shrewd Negotiation actually seems fantastic. Our opponent is going to get to blink something, and that seems great. Yep. But I think I will happily trade our Peafowl for their Wispweaver Angel. That definitely seems like a good deal for us, especially since they won't be able to activate it, and it just stays being a 2/4. So let's do that. Let us negotiate. You can have this, and I'll take this. And then normally I will hold on to my last card, but we don't really have any other activated abilities that we need to activate, and Aetherworks Marvel here is going to make us some energy if anything dies. Not that we want anything to die, but pretty happy to have that out here. Oh no! Oh! Forgot that we could have paid for that. We would have been up to 6 energy. Well, would have been sweet. That's okay. Yeah, no real attacks to speak of. We're good. And now we just get to bash in the air. I'm pretty happy about that. We will hit our opponent with their own angel as many times as we can. If that fails to go off, really we just need 2 more energy, and we have the option of just getting free cards here off of Aetherworks Marvel, which seems fantastic. Remember, this casts cards, so we can basically get anything but land and make it work. So even if we got just like a good removal spell or something like that, that would be fine. We can also definitely play anything that comes up. All right. Oh, yep. Nature's Way is a fine one. Well, let's do that. I think we get to just kind of keep the train rolling here. Nature's Way is going to take care of any obstacles that our opponent may be able to throw up there in terms of flyers, and our other guys are holding the ground, so I think we're good. Our guys and ladies and creatures. Is this a lady? Could be a lady. Hard to tell. Toolcraft Exemplar. Sure. That is a 3/2 first strike, but it is no match for Thriving Turtle. All right. Sure. You got Menace. I'm okay trading here with the judge. I don't think our opponent's going to be able to pump that all the way up to be able to kill both. You never know, though. Yep. That seems fine. All right. Well, land isn't really doing anything important for us. And I'm really inclined not to use our Nature's Way unless we need to. We kind of, we are winning this game unless our opponent does something crazy here, so... We can also, remember, this is a 5/5 if we really need it to be, without without having to spend any mana. So, perfectly happy to do that too, if that's what happens. DePaula, ooh, pumping up the dwarf even more. Look at that. All right, well, Nature's Way can take care of DePaula, but we will take some damage here in the meantime. I'm okay with taking 4. This seems weird, but sure. If our opponent's last card is a trick, I'm happy to see it, and that's fine. And otherwise, yeah, 4 it is. Well, it looks like we get to do both. I'm going to go ahead and Nature's Way DePaula here. The other issue here is that DePaula, if he's capable of tapping it next turn for any reason, would have potentially been able to draw him cards as well. And so beyond pumping the dwarf, that was kind of the primary concern. And our opponent decides to give it up. So there we go. That is the end of round 1, and we'll be back for round 2.